Hi, I'm Jeremy Crosby.
And I'm Nick Boucher. We're your hosts for the program that's all about your city, Talking Fitchburg.
Every weekday, we pull together the news, events, and information you need to stay on top of what's happening in the city of Fitchburg.
Find Talking Fitchburg on cable TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and our live stream on the web. Plus, you can find all our headlines and stories on Facebook, YouTube, and our video on demand service. This is your city.
Keep up with Talking Fitchburg and the issues affecting you and your neighbors.
Get connected, Fitchburg. We're launching Fitchburg Connect, the city's new monthly e-newsletter that keeps you informed about all the events, services, and updates that matter to you. Get it in your inbox once a month. Sign up today to get Fitchburg Connect.
Call to order the meeting of the Committee of the Whole on March 25th, 2026 at 6:32 p.m. Thank you for joining us. First item of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next is roll call. Administrator, will you help us out?
Absolutely. Mayor Arata Frada. Alder Dantzler Jr. is absent with excuse. Alder Gerhart.
Here.
Alder Herbst.
Here.
Alder Jetzer.
Here.
Alder Laduse.
Here.
Alder Lepper is absent with excuse, as is Alder Maldonado. Alder Reichstead.
Here.
Thank you. You've got a quorum.
Wonderful. Thank you. Next is the approval of minutes, and we have 2 minutes today. First, I'll need a motion on the draft minutes of January 28, 2026.
Move to approve the minutes.
Second.
Motion to approve and seconded. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor of adopting the January 28, 2026 minutes, say aye.
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 Motion, any opposed? Motion carries. Next is, I'll need a motion on the February 25th, 2026 draft minutes for Committee of the Whole.
Move to approve the minutes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor of adopting the February 25th, 2026 minutes, say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. Next is public appearances for non-agenda items. We have nobody in chambers and nobody online for non-agenda items. So we'll move right into our agenda items. First up, round trip Greater Madison presentation. We have 2 individuals joining us tonight, and we're really excited to hear what you have to share. So please take it away.
Okay. Great, thank you. So does this sound good? Okay, great. So hi, everyone. Thank you for having us here tonight. My name is Zia Brukaya, and I manage the round trip program at the Greater Madison Metropolitan Planning Organization, or MPO. And then I have Michael Dentiste joining me from Metro Transit. And so I'm going to start out today talking a little bit, just introducing what the MPO is and why we have a program like Round Trip, and then go into the services and the resources that Round Trip offers. And then Mike will take over with the last few slides and share some of the resources that Metro offers and some of the outreach opportunities that they have coming up in 2026. Oh, and I also wanted to note, I know that Fitchburg adopted a new transit plan at the end of last year, and took a look at that and saw that there's a real emphasis there in reducing single occupancy vehicle miles and providing options for people who don't drive. And the MPO absolutely shares those goals and values. And so the round trip program is really a partner for you guys as you move forward with that work. So the MPO, are folks familiar with the MPO? Show of hands. Yeah, okay, great. So for anyone who's not, the MPO, Metropolitan Planning Organization, is a regional long-range transportation planning and funding agency in the Madison region. We work collaboratively with communities to develop the long-range transportation plan. for our area. Our vision is a sustainable and equitable transportation system that connects people, places, and opportunities to achieve an exceptional quality of life for all. The geographic area that you see here is really where we focus our planning and the funding of transportation projects. And within that area, we serve 7 cities, 10 villages, and 19 towns. And as a regional agency, the reason why we have a program like Round Trip and why promoting transportation options really matters to us and to the communities that we serve is that we know that in Dane County, we're expecting to add nearly 200,000 more people by 2050 and 100,000 more households. So knowing that transportation influences our quality of life daily in many ways, it's really critical for us to ensure that we're investing in a variety of options so that our community can grow efficiently and continue to be a great place to live for everyone. Transportation Demand Management, or TDM, that is the term that we use to describe all of the strategies that are involved in providing and promoting transportation options. So I'm going to use the term TDM quite a bit throughout this presentation. Round Trip is a TDM program. There are many different definitions. I like this one. It's very short and sweet from the Federal Highway Administration. TDM is a set of strategies aimed at maximizing traveler choices. So there's a lot of ways to do that. There's a lot of reasons we would do that, a lot of benefits to doing that. TDM is implemented in a variety of ways across all levels of government. So state, county, regional, local, even in the private sector through developers and employers. It involves plans, policies, programs, projects. So it's kind of everything that's working together to ensure that people have transportation choices that are reliable and safe and affordable. There are many benefits of investing in transportation options for our communities. So the biggest 4 are here, leading to in a more efficient transportation system that has less traffic congestion and is also less costly to build and maintain. A system that's more sustainable, so less harmful to the environment and allows us to be more resilient. Better for public health, so when we're investing in active transportation and encouraging people to use those options, we see greater physical activity, better air quality, and greater safety on the roads when people are using a variety of transportation options. And then access to opportunity. We know that 1/3 of people in our communities don't drive, and making sure that everyone in our community has the ability to access jobs, services, and just to engage in the community that they're a part of. There are many local examples in the Madison region of TDM happening right now, many in Fitchburg and in all the surrounding communities. So investments in active transportation, bus rapid transit, the B-cycle bike share system, parking management, that is really critical. Making sure that parking is the least efficient use of our land, so making sure that we're really using it strategically. Developing park and rides, employer-based policies. I'll talk a little bit more about how Round Trip supports that. The City of Madison adopted a TDM ordinance in 2022 that applies to new and redevelopment, so ensuring that new development projects are incorporating supports for transportation options. And then transit-oriented development zoning, making sure that we're building close to areas where people can access their options, and then programs like Vision Zero and Safe Routes to School. And we have very recently, within the past couple weeks, had another reminder about why it's so important to invest in safe, affordable, and accessible options, because we really don't know what the future holds. And making sure that we have communities that are walkable and bikeable and transit served just means that we're going to have maximum flexibility, no matter what comes. So, conditions like gas prices rising or emergencies like COVID, it ensures that we're not compounding those issues by creating a transportation problem to go along with them. So a little bit about the Round Trip program. So Round Trip is a program of the MPO. We really focus on connecting individuals and employers in Dane County with convenient alternatives to driving alone. And in this kind of TDM space, what we're really focused on is the education and incentives and encouragement part of it. The program has been around since the late 70s, actually came out of the fuel crisis at that time, when the federal government was doing putting a lot of investment into rideshare and carpool promotion. And we have a long history of partnerships with all of the partners that you see here: Wisconsin DOT, Dane County, City of Madison, Metro Transit, UW-Madison, and many others that I could have a whole slide of partner logos here. So we really rely on our partnerships to spread the word about the program and advance our initiatives. The primary activities that we're involved in are, again, providing assistance to individuals, employers, and organizations in Dane County, raising awareness about the options that are available to people and how they can access those options and the benefits of using those options. Delivering resources that support people in walking, biking, riding transit, carpooling, and then working with our partners to amplify all of our messages. And I also wanted to note that we have some other ongoing partnerships that have been longstanding through the Round Trip program. We manage for Dane County their employee bus pass program, and we've seen a lot of growth in that over the past couple of years since BRT was implemented. And we also convene a quarterly TDM coordinating committee meeting with our funding partners, kind of our core partners, and then other support organizations in the region to connect on transportation options, topics, and initiatives. We also convene monthly Greater Madison Bike Partners meetings, which Bike Fitchburg is a part of, and then work closely with City of Madison on TDM initiatives. Some recent ones include improving communications at major event venues, places like Breese Stevens Field and Warner Park and Monona Terrace, and then implementing some transportation options kind of guides through the City of Madison event permitting process. So in terms of the resources that we offer, the big one is the central platform that we have for commuters in Dane County and really anyone who's looking for transportation options. So that's at roundtripgreatermadison.org. It's really a one-stop shop, so people can go there, they can register, this is all free, register, search for a carpool partner, search for a bike-to-work partner. We've got the van pool routes that are coming into downtown in the UW campus area, Metro Transit, B-cycle stations, and all of our area park and rides. Through that platform, we also offer an emergency ride home program for every commuter in Dane County who does not drive alone to work. I'll have some more details on that in the next few slides. And then we host 2 challenges in April and September that are really all about fun and encouragement and just raising the profile of, how great it can be to get out and bike or walk or ride the bus or carpool with friends instead of driving alone. We also offer our employer partner program that's all about supporting employers who are interested in engaging in this work. And then we do a lot of public outreach and engagement. We have Bike Week coming up, Metro Transit Learn and Rides we'll talk a little bit about, and lots of other community events and media engagement. We launched a brand new platform for that kind of one-stop shop platform that I mentioned. So this was at the very end of 2025, really modernized interface that's going to be mobile optimized and comes with our first branded app. So an app is something that we had heard a lot from people that they really wanted to see. Now go on Google Play or the App Store, search Round Trip Greater Madison, you'll find it. And this is where people can engage in logging trips for our challenges, finding carpool partners, participating in the emergency ride home program, and checking out all of the other resources we offer. We also have, this is actually the first page that we've been directing folks to, which is the new landing page for the Greater Madison MPO. So this is a very exciting improvement for the MPO, long time coming. We have a brand new website, really easy to navigate, lots of great information. And so we have a landing page for the round trip program, and that's a great first introduction to people so that they can quickly see, what round trip is all about. And then from there, if they're looking to engage with the resources, they can sign up with our matching platform from there. I wanted to mention our Bike Buddies program. This is something that launched in 2025 during Bike Week, so it's just about a year old. The focus of this program is really providing a resource for people who are new to bike commuting or new to, maybe they're moved to a new part of town and riding a new route and looking for somebody to support them, the first time that they do that, or get some tips on how to do that best. So the way it works is people sign up on our platform, and if you're an experienced cyclist, you join the Bike Buddy network to make yourself available. If anyone matches with you and they're looking for extra support, they reach out and make a connection that way, and we already have 54 Bike Buddies signed up. So this is a program, we've got a lot of great support from the biking community, which is fantastic, people who are ready and available to be of service, and we really want to get the message out to our new riders, people who might be thinking about bike commuting for the first time, that this resource is available to them. The Emergency Ride Home program is a really great program that focuses on reducing that barrier of fear that people might have if they are driving to work and they're thinking, maybe I could ride my bike, maybe I could take the bus, but what happens if I get sick? What happens if my kid gets sick? What happens if I'm carpooling and my carpool driver has to leave early? So the Emergency Ride Home program is there as the backup plan. Anyone can participate who primarily uses an alternative to driving alone to get to work. So more than half the time. And they get access to up to 6 union cab taxi vouchers per year to get home from work or school. So we have a number of Madison College and UW students and staff signed up in emergency situations, and this is paid for by the Dane County Highway Department. Employer resources that we offer are really important because employers are a really important partner. About a third of the members of Round Trip have heard about us through their employer. Employers are a trusted voice, and they can also help us in shifting that commute trip, which is the kind of best opportunity that we have many times because it's something that we do every day. It's easier to build a habit around, and so working with employers to get that message out to employees about, encouraging them to try other options and then letting them know all the resources available to them is really important. So basically, employers can connect with us. We can set up a dedicated workplace network for them where their employees can match with each other if they want to just limit their matching to their colleagues. And then they get the same access that everybody else in the region does to our challenges, to our emergency ride home program. And then we can also download impact data specific to that workplace. So workplaces who especially are interested in reporting on sustainability related data, looking at all of the trips that their employees logged over the course of a year and how many greenhouse gas emissions that reduced, how much money that saved. We can get that information for them. We also help with promotional resources, employee engagement, consultations, taking a look at their site, looking at improvements for walking and biking and riding the bus. So really flexible, and we really meet employers where they're at in terms of what kind of support we can provide for them. And then over the past few years, we've seen really good growth in the round trip program. The platform vendor that we're using now, we launched with them in 2023. So this program has had an online platform for many years, but all of the statistics you see here are since 2023. We currently have over 1,300 members, and then 450 plus who are actively matching. So that means that they've shared their commute and they're looking for a carpool partner or a bike to work partner. A lot of other people are members of the platform to participate in our challenges or maybe participate in emergency ride home. And so that accounts for that larger number. And in 2025, we had over 800 new accounts, and definitely looking to increase that number this year. So coming up in 2026, I wanted to share a few opportunities. Mike's going to talk a little bit more about the Metro Transit Learn and Rides, but these are basically opportunities that we're looking to build on, where it's we're going out for a period of time, usually in the morning, during the morning commute, to engage with new riders who might be interested in learning how to ride the bus, and then really celebrating everybody who's already riding, you know, handing out donut holes and coffee and just making connections and making it fun. The next one coming up is at the Sun Prairie Park and Ride on March 31st. And then on May 6th, we are partnering with the Fitchburg Senior Center and Bike Fitchburg, and then Madison B-Cycle on a How to Ride for Fitchburg seniors. And this is, these How to Ride, B-Cycle How to Rides are an opportunity that we'd really love to expand upon this year as well. And then we have our regional challenges. So in April, we've got the Spring Roll Challenge coming up for the month of April. And then in the month of September, we have our Smart Trips Challenge. These have been really popular. We've seen big growth each challenge that we host. This year, our goal for the Spring Roll is to log 10,000 green trips in Dane County in April by walking, biking, riding the bus, and carpooling. And I think we can do it. So excited to see how this year's challenges go. And then the challenges have also been a great opportunity for media engagement. So this has been a really nice way to expand awareness of the round trip program, get people excited about using these transportation options, and having fun and getting rewarded if they win prizes as part of the challenge. It's also been a really nice way to, when their challenge is over, to share those final stats to say, in Dane County, we reduced this many tons of greenhouse gases and we saved this much money by leaving our car at home and using a different mode. And then the last, yes, we have a few Fitchburg stars here. So Alder Reichstad and Alder Jetzer, yes. So.
I swear I offered them cookies out of the goodness of my heart. That was not a bribe to be in the slides.
So we are celebrating National Week Without Driving again in October. Fitchburg has been a fantastic representative of, what it means to participate in this Week Without Driving challenge. So we're very grateful to you guys. This has been, a really great initiative over the past couple years. It's just something that, again, it's all about raising awareness about the non-drivers in our communities, and why it is so important to invest in transportation options other than driving. So I'm really excited for this year. And then I'm going to hand it off to Mike.
Thank you. Happy to be here. Once again, my name is Mike Dentise. I'm the Customer Service Manager at Metro Transit. Happy to be here in support of ZIA round trip program and MPO. As such, I don't want to overbore you with details of Metro Transit. I'm sure you know how to ride the bus, so I'm not going to go over riding the bus today. But I would like to examine partnerships and possibilities of working with Fitchburg and kind of talk about where we've been and where we're going and that type of thing and how it fits in with Fitchburg. Again, my name. So the three keywords I want to focus on today: accessibility, outreach, and engagement. First, I want to start off with a story because people think oftentimes with the bus efficiency and getting from one place to another, it's going to take so much longer. And I'll tell you a quick story about my commute here from downtown. I was right behind the 75 bus from West Washington all the way to Fish Hatchery and PD. I drove within the speed limits and it matched me all the way. It was as efficient, even with stops along the way, going all the way here. Just to give you an idea of the efficiency of the bus system, people overlook that and kind of ignore that and kind of put it aside, thinking that, you know, it's going to be so much quicker to take my car and do such. But I'd like to point that out, just as a good real life examination of that. The routes that are in Fitchburg, I'm sure you're aware of them. The B, that's the kind of heart of it. The B, the BRT, which we'll hopefully build out here within the end of this year. The D, the G, the H, the 65 and the 75, the last two being our commuter routes that service Epic as well as going through Fitchburg. I think the key point in talking about our routes with Madison Metro is not just going through the community, it's connecting communities. And I think that's a big part of what Metro is focusing on, connecting communities, connecting Sun Prairie with Madison, connecting Fitchburg with Madison, connecting Middleton with Madison, connecting with Monona recently with Madison, not just driving through that community, but connecting those communities more than anything. I said the first word that we're going to talk about is accessibility. That can be taken a lot of different ways. It's not just our disability accessibility on the buses, which we have a lot of features. In our Ride and Learn events, which I will talk about coming up, we kind of highlighted, we get an opportunity for people to get on a bus in kind of a non-pressure situation and examine those disability features, whether it be our queue restraint that helps people with a wheelchair can get on without having to have the assistance of the driver. They can press a button and the restraint comes down and it gets them safely, and it's actually safer than our normal hook to a mobility device, what we have. There's also other accessibility. It's not just accessibility with disabilities, but the accessibility of overcoming that, how do I get on the bus and what am I doing? You know, it's, I get on and oh my gosh, especially the 60-foot buses that we have, people get a little overwhelmed. They see how much room is on there, how many seats are on there. I'll give you a quick tidbit if you didn't realize that our 60-foot buses actually only have about 2 or 3 more seats on them than our 40-foot buses. It's the standing room. It's also the room on the back of the bus where you can fit bikes on. Just kind of a little tidbit as along with that. It also involves the rider resources that we have available. I like to say that you can have many touch points for customers or people, the general public. We do have our website, mymetrobus.com, where we have a lot of resources available. We also have our email address where people can email. They can email questions, they can email feedback, they can email concerns, they can just email for anything. I'm actually the person that responds to those, so I can give you an idea of how quickly I usually respond within a day or two. We also have our customer service phone line, which is during the day from 6:15 a.m. till 6 p.m., Monday through Friday, as well as 8 a.m. till 4:30 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday, where you can call up and you actually talk to somebody. If you don't want to actually try to figure out a map or figure out tools online, you can actually talk to somebody who will direct you. They'll direct you to the stop. They'll direct you to a time that bus is coming. We do have system maps. I did check. They have some at the library. I stopped here before I came here, made sure that they're all set with materials that we have and kind of made a connection there. Just not those resources, but also our payment options on the bus. We obviously still take cash, making available to everybody, accessible to everybody. Also at our kiosks, we take cash. We have tap to pay with our credit cards on the bus. We have FastFare cards. If you're not familiar with that, it's kind of, you can set up an account, you get a reloadable FastFare card, you can add money on and ride the bus. It does allow us some flexibility for people to use that tap to pay, whether they use the card or they can set up on our app on their phone and set up a QR code on their phone and scan right from their phone. We can add discounts to their account that way, whether it be a youth discount, whether it be a senior discount, low income discount, or disability discounts, all available to people. We also have tools, online tools for people, whether it be our bus tracker. If you go to our website, mymetrobus.com, we have a bus tracker where you can see our buses live. That's actually our best tool, to be honest with you. If you want to know where my bus is, you can take a look and they'll show you exactly where every bus on any route is at any given time. And that is our real live data. So any data that you see, whether it be packaged in Google Maps, whether it be packaged in the transit app, that is our data, our GTFS data, which is our real-time data. So there's a static data, which is our schedules, which is available to everybody. It's publicly sourced. We also have dynamic data. The dynamic data is our cancellations when routes get canceled or as buses move along those routes, which is also available. You can see that packaged in other things, like I said, in the transit app or Google Maps or such. Once again, just more accessibility features for people to overcome getting on the bus and how to use the bus more than anything. Moving on to our outreach events. I've been very proud to partner with MPO, Zia, and other partners in our outreach events. We did a couple last year. I believe they've been a success, and I'd love to do more of them. I think our strategy last year, over the last few years, Madison Metro has changed quite a bit with the route redesign, advent of BRT. We've gotten new payment features on the buses. There's been a lot of change, and we're kind of playing catch-up along the way here. So now is the opportunity this year, customer service-wise, we've been focused on more grassroots, kind of getting in the community and actually meeting people where they're at. You know, getting on the bus with them, seeing how we can get them to be on the bus more often. And I think these ride and learn events have been a perfect example of that. People coming out, getting them on the bus, actually taking them on the bus, riding a few stops, bringing them back, talking them the features of the stops, talking the features of riding the bus, and so on, just making them more comfortable more than anything. I think that's the most common response. You know, I feel overwhelmed. I didn't know what to do. Well, you can come out and just talk to us and we ride on the bus. It's a very low pressure. We've been doing them at Park and Rides #1, just so it's our layover point. People can get on the bus and kind of just play around and look on the bus without having to worry about, am I going to disturb the service? Am I going to get in somebody's way? Am I going to cause a problem or slow down service? Really, once again, low pressure, but high result. We've done, like Zia said, we did one last week at the Junction Park and Ride. We partnered with Sun Prairie this upcoming week to do one. I would love to do one with Fitchburg, in fact. It is a little more challenging, but there are other opportunities. It's not just riding on and coming back. There's opportunities to do an event around it, whether it's a get on the B route from Fitchburg and ride to the farmer's market on a Saturday, get a group together, people that can ride down there and learn how to ride the bus. Once again, meeting people where they're at, giving them the opportunity, pointing out all the highlights of the places you can go just on the B route alone. You know, whether it's the state capitol, whether it's the UW campus, whether it's Breese Stevens Field, Warner Park, all of those places right on the B line, just on the B line. That's not even to mention the other routes that we have. If you get on the D2 route, you can go to the airport, right, going through Fitchburg. Lastly is our rider engagement. That's kind of where we'd like to go. You know, like I said, I'd like to do outreach events with Fitchburg or other communities. That's where I've started the year trying to reach out to these communities to do some of these things. But it's going to take partnerships with communities promoting us. Limited budgets and things like that to promote events like this. So having partnerships in cities like Fitchburg to promote these events as we go to them, to grow them, to get people out, to bring people out, to make them aware. I think our event last week at Junction, we had a lot of people actually tell us, well, my alder told me about this event and got us out to it. So that was the encouraging thing. But it's also public feedback. So some of those options that I showed you before are my Metrobus or mymetrobus@cityofmadison.com email address where people can send feedback. That's something I strive on responding to feedback and using people's feedback. Everybody has a voice, and they should have a voice in how transportation is delivered. So I strive on getting feedback and using that feedback, not only me, but our planning department and other departments at Metro themselves. That's all I had for you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for the wonderful presentation. We can move into questions now, but just wanted to say that this council, not everyone's up here tonight, but the council has been very supportive of public transit, as has the mayor, and we have funding to expand bus transit in Fitchburg, specifically making the 65 and 75 all day and weekend routes, and then also extending the B down to where it will be its termination point for the bus rapid transit. So we're excited about that. I know that it might take a little longer to implement than we wanted originally. We were hoping for this summer, but it looks like it's going to be a little bit longer than that. But we obviously are really excited about bus transit, and among these elected officials, and that's what we've heard from our residents as well, including some outreach from residents that want to do more public education. Our senior center is great. They've got a lot of individuals that are taking it upon themselves to teach them how. So I think organizing those events in Fitchburg would be really exciting. Who would like to ask a question? Bill, and then Logan.
I've got questions for both of you, but since Mike just presented and it's all fresh in our minds, I'll start with him. I guess I'll just share with everybody, you didn't explicitly mention it, but there is fare capping with Madison Metro. So a ride is $2, but you can't spend more than, help me out with the weekly, monthly, and yearly totals. I think the absolute
daily
maximum,
is, if you don't have a discount, daily is $5. Most you spend in one day is $5. Once again, that's at a non-discounted rate. Weekly is $16.50 and monthly is $65.
right. So the absolute max you can spend over the course of an entire year is like $700.
And you drop that down if you have a discount, say a senior discount, a youth discount. We
Roughly half
we
that.
partner with a lot of schools too, so there's a lot of youth discounts that we apply for kids going to high schools. That is $250 per day, $7 per week, and $26 per month for a youth
And then
or a senior.
also, the fare capping works with your credit card too. So if you are confused about how to set yourself up with a fast fare card, just use your credit card. Just walk onto the bus and scan it.
I'd like to point out too that your payment, whatever payment form you use, becomes your transfer as well. So if you use your credit card, it becomes a virtual transfer. You scan that credit card again within 2 hours after the first scan, you won't get charged again, but you will be allowed on the bus.
And then I had one question for you. So the bus tracker, is that mobile friendly?
Yes, you can
It
use
is.
it right from your phone.
Okay.
Yes, I use it for my phone all the time. It has not just a bus tracker, but it has a plan your trip too. So if you want to plan your trip, if you go to mymetrobus.com, it's right on the front. It says Metro's bus tracker or plan your trip. You can use both. You can set your guidelines for I want to take the bus in the future and plan my trip, or I want to plan my trip for right now. What's my best options? It'll give you walking directions along with what buses and that.
Okay. I've been using the transit app. Am I better off with one versus the other?
Personal preference. Once again, it's all the same information. It's just how it's packaged. They use all of our same GTFS data.
Okay.
Logan.
All right. This is going to be all over the place because I mostly have nice things to say about you, but there will be a couple comments scattered in. As Alder Gerhardt mentioned, the folks, especially up here on the dais, are very supportive of the efforts that you are bringing to our city and our region. I think we're 4 of 4 current or former members of the Transportation and Transit Commission sitting up here. 2 of us now sitting here as alders. And as you've seen, I am a regular Route 65 bus rider. So I think if I had to summarize everything that I'm going to say is in one word, I'd just say more. We just want more of you, as much as you can give us. I had seen your posts about the learn and ride events at the 2 park and rides. And then I had a thought, I'm like, I want this in Fitchburg. When can we get one scheduled? And I was thinking back to a couple conversations we've had at the Transportation and Transit Commission about when we were talking about our transit plan update and we didn't have a space on a bus route to hold a meeting. Well, now we've solved that issue with our new Hostahoche Community Center and Park off of Traceway and Fish Hatchery. So we've got that one solved, so that would be a great location if you're looking for one. We also had a group come to us in our January TTC meeting. In December, they had gone through and of their own accord did exactly what you're describing, kind of just said, we're going to get a group of seniors together and ride to the Chazen on the Bee just to see what it's like. And they had come forward and raised some concerns about some of those barriers that you were talking about. That's why we have those that fare information and we have fare cards at the library now. So people in the community are already seeing the benefit of this, and we're making strides in the right direction. So like I said, I just want more. So as much as you can give me, we'll do that. As far as communication, I think there are things that I'd like to see improved that I probably don't want to get into here because I have, would want to get it more in the weeds than it would be worth for this forum. But I would just say I think when we have things that come up that affect people's daily commutes, I would just think of the impacts if they don't find out. So we recently, and I say this as from personal experience, my bus stop moved a block, and in all seriousness, is it that big a deal? No, but we didn't find out about it until the sign was posted a couple days before. And I follow you on social, I follow you on text, I'm on the Transportation and Transit Commission, I'm on your email list, I'm an elected official, and I still had no idea. And then I talked to my fellow bus riders, and they also had no idea. So no one was late that I talked to on that Monday morning the switch happened, but that's just one example of, I think it would be helpful to be more proactive, even if it's low ridership at a stop. And same thing with when we lost some service on the I can't remember if it's D1 or D2, the southwestern portion of our urban service area because of the changes that happened in Verona. That kind of caught some of us by surprise. And we've had some residents upset about that. So that was something that I think would be helpful so that we're all rowing the boat in the same direction. Let's see, what else from the transit standpoint? I think the only other thing that I have for Metro Transit is I would just, as soon as humanly possible, I'd love to see the 65 and 75 get to that all-day service. I could tell you probably half a dozen people, I don't know all their names, but I can point to them on the bus on the way home and say, I've talked to that person, and they're looking forward to riding to the farmer's market. And I can point to that person and say, he told me he spends all this money on Ubers because he works on Saturdays and can't get to work. And I had somebody email me the other day, and they said, we're talking about parking and the some issues that happen with on-street parking. And then I said, well, you're right on the bus line too, and we're hoping to expand this. And they said, oh my gosh, I could maybe get rid of my car. It could save me hundreds of dollars a month on parking at the university. So as a wise person was quoted in the Cap Times today as saying, and this person's name was Bill Jetzer, we have to look at not only housing affordability, but total cost of living, and transportation is the number 2 cost of that. So if we can provide that service where I can, like I said, I can give you half a dozen people that are already, and that's just from my personal experience on one route at 7:45 in the morning and 4:30 in the evening. Now I just doxed myself, but that can, that are already looking forward to this. So the demand is there. So I'm just, like I said, I just want more. So I'll leave it there for now.
Anyone else? Bill.
Couple for the round trip presentation. I'll just note that I got a message this afternoon from my youngest son. He said, I just spent $77 filling my gas tank because it's $4.80 a gallon now. Everybody up here, you all know that I rarely drive, so I probably haven't put gas in a car for a couple of months, but this Sunday I'm going to go visit my dad. He's 110 miles away, so I'm going to have to gas up either on the way there or back, and that's, this is not an insignificant expense for people. So having options, and I should probably say post my ride on round trip to see if anybody else happens to need to go to Plymouth, Wisconsin. It's
there might be.
Stupid o'clock in the morning. Also, I did install the new round trip app, and I did it shortly after I think you maybe sent me an email and gave me a heads up on the new website or whatever. And I didn't have any reason to log trips. But then in prep for this meeting, I pulled it up and I was prepared. I went to click the record button and it told me I was 3,064 hours into a ride. I must have pushed go and then never pushed stop.
Interesting, yeah.
And a question for Chad. Is the city of Fitchburg one of the round trip employers?
Not that I'm aware of.
I see an opportunity here.
Absolutely set up a network for city of Fitchburg employees. Yeah.
And with housing the way it is, many of our city employees do not live in the city of Fitchburg, so this could prove to be, hopefully quite useful.
Yeah, yeah. And at a minimum, for people, if they can't carpool or bike or ride transit to work, the challenges that we host are about any type of trip that you could have otherwise driven. So errands, going out to dinner with friends, any of those things. So if someone lives in Beaver Dam, they can still log trips that they're making in Beaver Dam on the weekends.
But hopefully there's more than one person who
Yeah.
lives in Beaver Dam and they can carpool.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
And then the last thing I wanted to note was that the May 6th How to Ride a B-Cycle event, that coincides intentionally with the first of the Rides for Joe events for the season. So that has typically drawn, a dozen people or so. So the idea is, hey, the people who normally do the Ride for Joe, they can see what it's like to do a B-Cycle ride. And for people who are curious about B-Cycle, they can learn that, hey, this monthly ride happens as well.
Yeah.
Micah.
I thought of a question. So I am also very supportive of transit, but I am not a frequent bus rider. And so I just looked at I just signed up for your website while you were talking. I'm sure that's what you wanted me to be doing instead of listening to you. But I really like the route feature where you put in your destinations, gives you a route. That's really nice. I mean, we travel a lot too, and so I'm navigating transit systems in other cities and things. I feel sometimes transit apps are kind of like when you have a kid in school and your teacher says here, your homework is on these 5 easy to navigate apps. Just go to each one to do this different thing. And I guess so you said there's also an app that provides the real-time bus notification tracking system. I'm sure you know what this is. Is that route feature integrated into that app as well? Is there one place I can go where if I want to ride the bus, I say, here's my route, here's the real-time tracking, here's everything
Are you looking for intermodal, more than just bus? The transit app also offers B-Cycle locations.
Sure.
As well as other options. So the transit app, and the transit app works not only in Madison, but in other cities in the United States as well.
Okay.
Can confirm from personal experience it works in Chicago and San Francisco in addition to Dane County.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, transit app is, like Mike said, probably the best in that situation. The round trip app, it does have the same bus real-time information that Google Maps or any of these other apps use. So the bus routes are correct. And then for the B-Cycle station, there's a layer so people can see where B-Cycle stations are, but you can't necessarily do a whole automatic trip plan like you can in the transit app.
Yeah, I think you pointed out a very good, the hesitancy to use transit. There's definitely the assumption that it will be slower. There's always that assumption, which might not necessarily be true. I think there's also the hesitation that the route is actually accurate, and that's hard to build in that trust that you search it on Google Maps or you search on this thing and is the bus going to be there when it's there because I need to be at this place. And so there's until you are riding it every day or whatever, there's that hesitation. And so so it's that one.
Then I would suggest if you're just beginning out doing that real-time bus tracker where you can actually see the buses, literally, you can isolate just the B route and you can see where every bus on the B route is and see exactly where they are, and it gives you a little more trust. And I know it's there, right?
Yeah. Thank you.
Logan.
All right, now I get to say nice things about round trip. So I've also had some good experiences there too. I just wanted to share that my gratitude for that. I had a constituent reach out to me about a ride share. Unfortunately, our schedules didn't work out well, but so I can also confirm from personal experience that it is a resource that folks in Fitchburg are using, and was nice to at least make an acquaintance, even if we weren't able to mesh our schedules. Like I said, I more, give me as much as you can. One of the things I think I'd like to get your sense on is what we can do as a city, as elected officials, and what your capabilities are with as fast growing as Fitchburg and our region are. We're seeing a lot of new apartment buildings in particular in parts of our city, like for example in Uptown, which is right on the Route 65. Are there things we could be doing to reach out better to the developers, to those tenants? Do you have any strategies that have worked elsewhere that we could replicate, or things that you've been wanting to try that we could, be the guinea pigs for? Considering just the speed at which the development is happening, and B, from the standpoint of it's a little bit more of a transient population, so that, somebody may know their bus route for a year and then they move and somebody else moves in and they don't know about these services. So I guess just how, I'll stop talking there, but see what you got.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think in working with employers and property managers, the most successful kind of initiatives with those folks are when they are really motivated, to help spread the word. And then when they are, we have all the resources available for them to do so. I think that, we would love to connect with multifamily residential properties. So if there are property managers who would be interested in providing this information to their tenants, we would absolutely love to work with them. And I don't know if maybe we don't talk. I'm thinking discounted transit passes for because the employer program that you guys have, commute card. So I think with working with employers, there's programs like the commute card that Metro can offer, so really reduced rate for bus passes, and then we can come in and provide the wraparound information put a network together for your employees so that they can match for carpooling if transit's not an option, so that they can bike together to work, and things like that. I guess I would say we always want to make those connections. We definitely, the capacity that we have right now is really responding to people who are motivated to do that. So we would love you guys' help identifying, what employers or what property managers in Fitchburg would be interested. That would be fantastic. And then kind of a longer term strategy, but that is really effective, is like the TDM ordinance that Madison adopted. That is something that really puts a framework around if a new development is proposed or a redevelopment is proposed, that they need to select from kind of a range of strategies, and one of them could be providing bus passes, it could be sharing round trip information, things like that, as part of that kind of development agreement. So I think that's a really nice way to kind of drive engagement in a really consistent, baked-in way, as part of that process long term.
Yeah, we had talked about when we updated our transit plan. I don't want to say quite at length, but it was a healthy discussion about whether TDM was a good fit for Fitchburg and what that could look like. Yeah. And one of the things that we kind of ran into was, we also don't have the staff capacity to gather all of these resources and to kind of be that point person or that kind of shepherd of all these resources. So I think if you have something like essentially a all-in-one kit that's got, okay, here's 5 things you need to do to start TDM if you're building a new neighborhood or you're building a new multifamily building, or you're wanting to get in for some of our existing housing stock as well. Kind of just having a toolkit that we could then give and, just even send a link and say, here, go here, this is everything you need to know, I think would go a long way toward helping our staff with that goal, and help us with our goals, as you mentioned, from our transit plan, from our sustainability plan, and otherwise just removing all those barriers so that it's even easier for folks who maybe are transit curious or are not the motivated ones, but are that next rung down, that are like, if it's easy enough, sure, I'll do it, but I'm not going to bend over backwards to do it. Yeah. So if we can kind of get to that level and target those folks too, I think that would help us get to that next level. So if you have something like that, I'd love to connect and see what we can do to spread that around. Okay, that's great. Yeah, I would say on our employer resources page, that's where we have a toolkit for employers and downloadable resources for employers, and kind of a step-by-step. And then, like Mike said, I'm always looking for feedback and
requests. So if there's something that you see there that's like, well, this doesn't quite make sense, or this is missing, and I would hope this would be there, like, please let me know, because we're always wanting to improve resources. But I think what we've got on that employer page is really good for connecting, at least with employers. Yeah.
We have time for one quick question if anyone else has a burning one. All right. Well,
just one comment. I'll just say, this goes back probably 25 years or something. Enrique Peñalosa was mayor of Bogota. When he became mayor, he went all in on public transit and walkability, and his famous quote is, a thriving city is not one in which even the poor drive cars, but one in which the wealthy take transit.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight. This was great to learn about this, and we look forward to continuing to work with you, and feel free to reach out with more resources we welcome that, obviously. So,
Yeah,
thank
great.
you.
Yes, let's be in touch. Thank you so much.
So next up, we have our transportation engineer, Ross, from our Public Works Department, is going to be talking about street resurfacing in Fitchburg. Really excited to get an update. It's been a couple years since we've had our last update from Public Works like this, so very excited to hear more.
Just get all my stuff plugged in here, and then I'm ready to go. All right. Like Alder Gerhard said, I'm Ross Kaler. I think I've met everyone here a few times before. But I'm going to give you guys an update on our street resurfacing for 2026. And this is kind of a good overview for people who haven't been on council for a while. I'll go over kind of what resurfacing is, our road selection process, and what condition we rate our roads in, the actual construction process, what we're doing in 2026, including some carryover work from 2025 that was not completed. And then we'll get into questions at the end. So, resurfacing, we've got a lot of words that we use that are kind of jargony for road projects. So, resurfacing is removing the full asphalt layer, which is usually 4 to 6 inches thick. Then we do a proof roll to determine the soft sections of the gravel base course under the road. We replace the damaged concrete curb and gutter while we're replacing the asphalt. We put the asphalt back, we generally repave the exact thickness that was there, and then that all takes 2 to 6 weeks generally, and if it's a resurfacing project, we are generally not doing any geometric changes, so we're not adding turn lanes or roundabouts or traffic signals or like road diets or anything like that. We're just removing asphalt and replacing asphalt. Other things you might hear, surface maintenance, that's like chip seal and crack seal, where we're not really replacing the asphalt at all. And then a reconstruct is when we're doing stuff like adding traffic signals or making the road wider or narrower or doing something more complicated like our Sain Road or Lacey Road or Fitchrona Road projects.
Ross, do you want questions now or at the end?
Let's take them at the end.
Okay.
So our road selection criteria for resurfacing, we go by the condition of the road, how rough it is to drive generally. The location, we try to concentrate our work on one neighborhood at a time. The traffic volume comes into play. We prioritize our higher volume roads over our lower volume roads. That's number of cars per day, to explain what volume is. And then we also work in our water main, sanitary sewer, and storm sewer projects because you have to tear up the road to get to the pipes underneath. So we have to put new pavement back anyway. And then also if there's a traffic calming project that we want to put in, we would do that traffic calming at the time of the resurfacing. So we rate all of our roads in Fitchburg, all 145 miles of road, every 2 years with the PACER system. So it's a 1 to 10 scale. We drive all those miles of roads and rate every single one of them 1 to 10. This is required by WSDOT, so we compile all those ratings and submit them to WSDOT via their Whistler system. This is the type of road that we generally try to resurface. This is a PACER rating of 3 or 4. This is Research Park Drive, so this is right outside City Hall. This is a good example of trying to time our resurfacing with other construction projects. So, as we all know, the police facility is getting built across the street and needs some geometric changes to the road. So we are working in our resurfacing with those changes from the police facility. So I know I just said that we don't normally do geometric changes with this resurfacing project. For Research Park Drive, we're actually making that median narrower and expanding the angle parking on the sides. We're making those a little bit longer so cars don't stick out into the roadway like they do now. And we're also adding some turn lanes. We're not adding any asphalt width, but we're just basically striping the road to make it clear that you can be on, the left-hand side and go straight or left, and then be on the right-hand side and turn right. So that should alleviate some little traffic issues that I probably care more about because I come in and out of work every day than anyone else. So generally, how this project works on a street-by-street basis, we send out letters at the start of the project, and then we do door hangers like right before the contractor is going to start work on a street. They generally cut out all of the curb and gutter that needs to be replaced and then re-pour that curb and gutter, and they do the restoration of the people's yards right behind the curb and gutter before they can start the milling process on each street. That's a new thing for this year, so that should make this process go smoother because the restoration is something that residents take seriously. Then after the curb and gutter, we get into the milling, the removal of the asphalt. They grade the surface underneath, and we do our proof roll, which is just driving a fully loaded dump truck on it and seeing if the gravel base has ruts in it. It's a really simple process. We also do the utilities at that time if there are any that are needed. I'll get into which streets we're doing that on in a minute. And then we do our paving, which we do in 2 layers, binder and then surface. Those are both about 2 inches thick, depends on the road, it varies. And then the restoration of everything else. So if there's any restoration that's not curb and gutter related, then we would do that after the surface asphalt is down. The total time with kind of a gravel roadway is 1 to 2 weeks. That's our absolute quickest turnaround. Any weather delays generally cost us more than, if it rains on a Monday, it generally costs us about 2 to 3 days of work because the contractor has to move all of their projects around. So I wish these things could go a little bit quicker, but we get them done as fast as we can. These are the streets that we are doing in 2026. So we've got a couple up in the northwest corner of the city, Petersburg Circle and Specht Drive. Those are just kind of little short streets that we had a little bit of budget that we could add in that amount of money to the project. We've also got some paths and park areas. So Chicory Meadows, Clayton Park, the Fish Hatchery Path, kind of just south of McKee Road. And then also there is the Hillside Heights Park. We'll be adding a path there, that's a new path. Then we've got 2 major areas that we're doing. So this kind of Hillside Heights neighborhood, and then there's also kind of an add-on Ryland Street up to the north there that's not technically in this neighborhood. But we're resurfacing this entire neighborhood. So we're going to get in and get out, and it'll be a big impact to these residents for this year, and then we won't be back until we chip seal the road in 5 to 7 years. So here's kind of a close-up of those park areas and then the northwest area. And then, I missed adding a picture here. I thought I had one of, oh no, it's later on, I moved it. Sorry. So the utility work. So Lyman Lane, Florin Drive, Barber Drive, and Tower Hill all have water that we are replacing. Those are our new ones for 2026. And then our carryovers for 2025 are all in Belmar, and you can see those on this slide. So Crescent Road, Aztec, and Sentinel Pass all have water, and then Crescent Road has storm sewer as well. And the storm sewer there is actually going to go through one of the apartment parking lots and connect to the pond behind the apartment. So that's a little bit bigger of a storm project. So those didn't get completed in 2025, and we just carried them over to 2026. Here's those the roads with water, and then a couple of other ones in that neighborhood. So Florin, Merlin, Eugene, Barbara, and Tower Hill, and then also Research Park Drive, like I said, right next door to City Hall. I was going to take them at the end, if that's okay. I've only got like 2 more slides.
Okay.
So our overall project timeline is we're going to start work in mid-May. The contractor will work throughout the summer. They'll just go from area to area in the city. They generally work 7 a.m. to 5 or 6 p.m., but they can work until 7 p.m. Monday through Saturday. And occasionally we will look at authorizing work on a Sunday if the contractor is in a time crunch, which does happen. The utility work, the water and the storm, will be complete in September, and then the asphalt will be complete in October. We're anticipating having the asphalt-only roads done in September, and then the ones that have utilities on them will be the ones that they leave until the end of the project and finish up after the utilities are installed. So Zach Laundrie is our regular engineer for this project. He left me to do this presentation because both him and Tim went on vacation today. So once they get back, Zach will be handling this. So his email's there and his phone number, and then mine and Tim's as well. So now I will take questions.
Thank you so much, Ross.
Yeah.
I think we'll start with Bill and then Mayor.
Yeah, so one of your first slides, you showed the milling of the street. I understand asphalt is perhaps the most recycled material on the planet. So, like, do we cart this off and get a whole new batch of asphalt, or do we just like mix hot tar with the stuff we just chewed up and put it right back where it was?
So we do generally on our urban streets, which are the ones with curb and gutter. We're about half and half this year, urban or rural section. So that Hillside Heights neighborhood doesn't have curb, basically. Mm-hmm. If it's an urban street with curb, then we generally just mill the 4 inches of asphalt off. It goes into a dump truck. They take it back to the asphalt plant, and then they recycle it for another project. If it's a rural street, then we have a choice to make whether we do a mill and overlay or a pulverize and overlay. So a mill and overlay is what I just said, where they take it off and they recycle it and we get new asphalt. A pulverize and overlay is a different machine called a cold pulverizer that basically goes even deeper than the 4 inches of asphalt and grabs about 6 inches of the base course and mixes that all together into a millings and gravel mix. And then we use that as the new base course. So we've basically just added 4 inches to the base course in height, and then we're paving 4 inches of asphalt on top of that. So it raises the road profile 4 inches. So if we have a bunch
does that sink back down over time?
No.
Oh.
So if we
Well,
have
as long as it does it gradually and all.
if we have a bunch of driveways, then all of a sudden our road is higher than our driveways. And same thing with if we did it on a street with curb, then our road would be 4 inches higher than the curb. So that's why we only do it on rural roads that don't have a lot of driveways, because we have to cut pretty far back into the driveways, like 20 to 40 feet, and tie them back in, which causes a lot of drainage issues in some areas and is a good way to annoy residents, where every time there's 3 or 4 brand new concrete or custom brick driveways on a project, and when we go through, we just replace them with asphalt, and then all of a sudden they lost half of their expensive driveway. So yeah, and on bigger projects they do on-site asphalt recycling. Our projects are generally not big enough to make it worth bringing a mobile asphalt plant out to the site.
Okay. Do we ever splurge for concrete instead of asphalt for some of our roads, or what's the criteria there, and also, what's the total cost of ownership of an asphalt road versus a concrete road?
Yeah, so we do have some concrete roadways. Parts of Fish Hatchery, parts of McKee are concrete, but generally, a city the size of Fitchburg and the traffic we see on our roads, asphalt is your most cost-effective choice. Once you start getting into concrete, it costs double or more to resurface, and you can't use any of the same machines, so it would be a completely different project than this normal resurfacing. The next time we redo McKee, we will have to get into that, and that'll be a challenge. So,
and the additional longevity of concrete doesn't make the total, it doesn't work out economically to be favorable.
Correct. On the roads, on most of our roads with the amount of traffic we see on our roads. So where you get into cost savings with the life cycle of concrete versus asphalt is with heavy truck traffic or really, really high volumes of car traffic, because the concrete can stand up better to the heavy vehicles or the high volume of vehicles. But both concrete and asphalt still age if you just leave them out in the sun and don't drive any cars on them. So if you're not utilizing the strength of the concrete, it's still going to age at a little bit slower rate than asphalt, but not more slowly enough to make it worth the double cost.
And final question, I saw you had a stretch of the Fish Hatchery Road path on there. And a lot of the path, like I'm thinking of a section interior, between the condos and the ponds. There's a lot of tree roots that are pushing up parts of the asphalt, and I don't know specifically in that section you're planning on redoing if tree roots are an issue there, but what do you do about that?
So we talked to Anna Healy, our arborist, our forester, and she basically tells us, okay, that tree root, you'll be fine if you just cut it. The tree will survive and your asphalt will last longer. Or if we cut that root, we will kill that tree. And then we kind of make a decision based on how badly that tree is impacting the path or the sidewalk, and how high value of a tree it is. If it's a tree that'll grow quickly and we can replace, then we might cut it down. If it's a heritage oak, then maybe we move the path or just say, oh, well, it's going to push up and there's going to be a bump there.
So you don't lay down like an extra pile of base course over that to try and smooth out the effects of the root?
Not generally, because if the root is heaving the path, it's generally up in the base course in the top 2 inches. So we would have to put a hump in the path or something and grade around it, which also damages the tree.
Mayor Julia.
Yeah, I have a question about the water project. What does it mean? What type of water project is?
It's water main replacement. So our drinking water pipes under the road, they're the ones in Belmar. We get a lot of water main breaks, so we're replacing them.
And the one here in District 2 and Tower Hill, and yes. So how old are those? Do you have any idea?
I believe they were installed. I mean, they're original to the neighborhood.
Okay.
Yeah, they've never been replaced. So I think they're 50 years
But
old.
are we having any issue there that we need to replace them?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay.
Barbara, so Chelsea,
Okay.
Chelsea, our utility engineer, knows a lot more about this than I do. But I think on Barbara we had 2 or 3 main breaks last year.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And when we replace those pipes, we are replacing with concrete pipe or with PVC? They are the new material now.
So water main is ductile iron.
Okay.
So these pipes in this area are generally cast iron, I believe.
Okay.
And we're replacing them with ductile iron, which does not, it doesn't shatter as easily.
So what material is that?
It's iron. It's metal.
Okay. Oh, metal. Okay.
Yeah. So it's a better iron alloy
Okay.
than the cast iron, basically. Okay. So you can do plastic pipe for water main, but we don't in Fitchburg usually.
Because of the weather?
There's a lot of different reasons.
Because it's substantially cheaper. This is what I heard.
Yes. So the ductile iron pipe, you can generally count on a longer life than the plastic pipe.
Okay.
But you're right, the plastic pipe is a lot cheaper.
Micah.
How many miles are we doing this year?
This year we are resurfacing about 3 miles.
Okay.
So earlier I said we have 145 miles of road. These roads that we're doing generally last about 30 years. We're not on a 30-year replacement cycle with our roads.
Yep.
So what is the benchmark?
For how many miles we would need to redo?
Every year, if money is not an issue.
5 miles.
It's 5 miles.
Oh, 5?
Yeah.
Okay.
1/30 of all the roads.
Yeah.
So we got about roughly 150 miles, so you need to do.
What is our miles though that wouldn't be covered under like a reconstruction project though? Because like McKee isn't going to be part of like the resurfacing. What bucket goes into the resurfacing? How many miles go into the resurfacing bucket?
It's probably about 135.
Okay, so
Yeah.
pretty close to the total.
Yeah. Because really it's just like McKee and Fish Hatchery that we would, and it's only part of Fish Hatchery, honestly. So.
Right. And then where's the path in Hillside Heights Park gonna go?
It goes, I'll have to pull it up on Street View quick.
They're putting that.
But it goes to the playground.
Ross, is that for ADA accessibility to the playground?
Oh, that one.
Yes. So technically, the ADA accessibility will still be a little bit questionable because there's no sidewalk on the road here. But it will allow like a wheelchair user to get from the road to the playground.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
So it kind of, I believe it kind of wraps around this tree. There's some grade issues that we are trying to address with this hill. So we kind of have to wind the path around a little bit.
Okay.
So I could be mistaken, but I believe Chicory Meadow is one of the roads in the city with speed bumps on it. Is that accurate? Oh, it's the path we're doing up there.
Yep.
I'm curious. So I guess the question still stands though. If we're resurfacing a road with speed bumps, do we automatically replace those speed bumps, or do you evaluate the need for those speed bumps?
We generally automatically replace them unless we know there's an issue. And our older speed bumps in the city are asphalt, and now we only do concrete speed bumps, so we would replace them with concrete.
So the entire road section would be replaced with concrete, or
just the speed bumps?
just the speed bumps
Yeah.
themselves?
So Crescent Road that we did 2 years ago, that had asphalt speed bumps, and we replaced them with our concrete ones.
Logan.
So to follow up on that, you can't just go over it with asphalt and the bumps will come back the same?
No, because we've got to remove down to the base course. So they actually have to pave through where the speed bump was. Then they sometimes come back and mill out that area again, and then pour the concrete, just because of how the paving machine works. So.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, so you said you put out door cards before the projects, kind of right before. How does that work for folks who live in places where you don't have an accessible door? So a larger apartment building that doesn't have individual doors to hang cards on.
So when we mail the letters out before the project, we mail them to every individual apartment. So we've hopefully at least made everyone aware of the project at that point. And then we post on basically every exterior door that we can get to a door hanger. So if you're going in or out of the apartment building, then you'll see our door hanger.
Okay.
But we do have notification issues more with apartments than single-family homes.
Okay. Two more quick things. First one is, for the benefit of the viewing public, it seems like everyone thinks their road is the worst road in town. And you mentioned that we just did our biannual, or is it biennial? Either way, every 2-year assessment of the roads in the fall. Would you be so kind as to show the viewing public where they can go to view the newly updated PACER ratings for every road in the city so they can determine whether or not their road is the worst in the city? We have a GIS map. So.
Well, you can get to our website from the phone, from your phone. So if you go to fitchburgwi.gov, go to hover over Government, go to Public Works, then scroll down to 2024 PACER road ratings, and wait for it to load. There you go. This is our 2024 ratings, so we do it in even years. We'll do it again this year.
But
This
you've
is
also
kind
got
of the
the
first I've
PACER
remembered
ratings on our GIS map, right?
We do. This is just the easiest publicly accessible way.
And as long as you're showing us maps, do you want to show us that brand new road closure map?
That was
Did you
gonna be
see
my next
my
question.
open tabs that I was going to get into that?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I guess to answer your unasked question, Alder Eichstad, our worst road in the city is Fitchrona Road under the 18151 bridge, which we are redoing this year.
Lane.
Yeah, you don't get a cookie if you don't push your button.
Okay. What about Irish Lane? Can you explain that? Because I receive a lot of.
Everybody name the road that they think's the worst in this.
North
Yeah,
Side.
no, but it's a lot of people are asking me about Irish Lane a lot, about how bad it is, when we're going to repair, blah blah blah, and I try to explain we have a process, but.
And Ross, before you jump in, can you also say, I thought when I looked at the updated PACER ratings on the map that Alder Jetzer was just saying, the GIS map, I thought I saw that the PACER rating for Irish Lane went up this year. Yeah, I'm like, is it like that soy fire foam? We've also got self-healing roads.
So the PACER rating may have gone up. I didn't realize that. But we have multiple people who rate roads, and one of the points of the PACER system is that it is a quick way to rate a road. There's other systems that you count the number of cracks in a mile and do a bunch of math, or you use like LiDAR to scan the road. But the PACER rating is a lot easier for us to do, and it's very subjective. Irish Lane is more complicated than a road that we would do with a resurfacing project because there would be new utilities under the road, and we're waiting for development to try to align how we would build that road and what the development needs. So for those reasons, it would be more of a reconstruction than a resurfacing. And we also have been looking at grant funding for Irish Lane, which we are going to get recommended by the MPO. They're going to recommend to WISDOT that WISDOT funds Irish Lane at 64% state share.
Oh, nice.
But that funding is not available until 2030.
Oh.
So that's a spoiler for the CIP
Oh, really?
later
it's
on.
It's coming?
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Dave.
Just add, Logan, I don't feel people have an appreciation how good our roads are here. If you work in Milwaukee, like I do quite often, it's a train wreck. Madison isn't as good. We'd like to be doing more, the 5 miles as Bill and, Ross alluded, but we have very good roads compared to, many major cities.
So I want to make 2 comments, okay? One is that, last summer we spent, $180,000 with Dane County co-sharing to fix 2 intersections. I don't know if you noticed one here, Lacey and Fish. There are some cracks there, okay? Big ones, okay? So what is the plan for that?
So like you kind of alluded to, Fish Hatchery is
Lacey here, in the intersection, yeah.
Yeah, so Fish Hatchery is a county highway. So they came forward with that plan to fix those 2 intersections on their road. And since it's through our municipality, we cost shared with them. And they have been pothole patching since then. But there's no current CIP project for that section of Fish Hatchery.
No, but this one, there is a pothole right now there.
Right. So
someone has to fix because it can damage a car.
Yeah. So I've spoken with Dane County about both of those intersections since they did those concrete repairs. And they've said they're going to do pothole patching there. That would just be normal road repairs like our street crews do.
The size of some of the chunks that come up and sit in the middle of the road is substantial.
Yeah, no, it's and the other comment is, last summer also MG&E was doing some work on McKee, the intersection of Lacey Highway and McKee. Seminole. We have that
green.
The green, and are they planning to paint that back?
Yes.
Okay.
So we've been in contact with them. They obviously didn't repaint that last year. They are aware that it needs to be repainted.
There are a couple of places where they.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay.
Do we do, so I think I answered my own question when you put that up. So we did Pacer in 2024. So do we do it in even years then?
Yes.
Okay. And when you talked a while back about well, I forget what it's called, the rural section, the pulverized resurfacing,
Yeah.
is that cheaper? Is that why? Because it seems like you just listed a bunch of downsides
Oh,
to doing
yeah.
it. Is that cheaper to do in the rural sections? Is that why that's an option, or?
So it is a little bit cheaper because you're not paying for as many trucks to haul off the old millings. It also gives you a better base course because the asphalt that has been ground up, it adds height, it adds depth to the base course. It also adds a lot of strength because the millings are a better material to build a road on than the gravel. But we don't do it in the first place because it's more expensive. So it makes your roads last longer. We also have issues with our rural roads where they have less base course than we put under our roads now. So we put in 12 inches of gravel now. Some of our rural roads have 4 or 6 inches. So being able to beef that up with an additional 4 inches of millings helps a lot. So there are a lot of upsides. If I could pulverize and overlay every road, I would. But there's some downsides in the urban areas. So.
Other questions, Bill?
I guess returning to Irish Lane, if we can't really do anything for at least another 4 years, it sounds like, is there any utility to try and chip sealing that in the meantime or anything? You know, we don't want to do anything too big because it's going to get reconstructed soon, but it's in really bad shape. Do we have a plan for the interim?
So we've spent a lot of time discussing Irish Lane and, you know, if we go for this grant and we don't get it until 2030, what do we do in the meantime? So that was kind of a thing we did before even applying for this grant. Chip sealing at this point does not really do anything for the rideability or drivability of the road. It just makes the surface look a little bit better if you're not, you know, looking too closely. And another thing we've discussed is doing like a partial depth mill and overlay, which is another tool in our toolbox. So our roads are 4 inches thick. You can mill off 2 inches of asphalt or 1 inch of asphalt and then repave that. That costs either, you know, half as much for a 2 inch mill and overlay or a quarter as much for a 1 inch mill and overlay. And for Irish Lane, I believe I'm not sure off the top of my head how long that section is, but for a mile of road, it generally costs about $300,000 to do a full depth mill and overlay. So half of that is still $150,000 for a 5-year or 4-year at this point Band-Aid fix. So basically where we've kind of settled as staff is that that road will be in bad shape until we reconstruct it.
Okay, we're going to send the neighbors to you, okay?
They already called.
We'll send them to Zach.
Yeah. So one thing that I've had this up for a while, but we have a new tool for our road closures. So we're going to be using this as part of this project. You can get to the new road closures map. You all get emails with this, with links. You got 3 on Monday, I believe. But you can go to our opendata.fitchburgwi.gov page, scroll down to Fitchburg road closures, and then the map will load. And you can see all of the current road closures in the city. So we've got this little one over here on Green Market, or I guess it's technically on Sherrill, but nobody drives on that road yet. So I'll go over to Fitch-Rona. You can click on this. It shows you why it's going to be closed, if it's construction, a block party, whatever, the directions, how many lanes, when it's going to be closed, when it's going to reopen, and then the access that can get through. So there's 4 levels to this. Local traffic, which is if you have a destination on the road, you can drive on it. If you don't have a destination on the road, you cannot drive on it and you can get a ticket. Critical vehicles, which is like school buses, post office, and then including fire, EMS, police. Emergency vehicles only, which is just fire and police and EMS. And then no access, which we only use no access when we have an excavation across the road. So you literally cannot drive through. You can, direct constituents to this. It's pretty easy to find, and we'll be updating it throughout the project as we have kind of the rolling road closures that this project has.
And you can find that link to the OpenGIS at the bottom of the Fitchburg website, the main website.
Yes.
There's a link to the GIS maps.
Yep.
So Ross, just to reiterate, if I may, on the local traffic only, you stated that there has to be a destination within the closed section of the road.
Yes.
And merely being a local resident does not authorize you to drive on that section of road, correct?
Correct. If your driveway is within the construction barriers, then you can drive on that road. Which that's generally what we do for the resurfacing project. It's local traffic only. So.
All right, Logan.
I just wanted to say that I saw this map in my email right before I left, and this is fantastic. I'm a big fan. I don't know if this is Dakota, if this is Zach, if it's you, all the above, but major kudos.
Yeah, this is Dakota did a ton of work on this. He brought this to Zach and I and said, would this be a cool thing to have? And we said, yes, it would be. So we're excited about this.
It's wonderful. All right. Looks like questions have come to an end, and we all know where to find you if we have more. So I'm sure there'll be more in the future. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. That was great to get an update, and look forward to seeing some new roads out there. We are at the end of our agenda items. Next item is announcements. Our next committee of the whole meeting will be April 22nd, 2026. I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Alder Ragsted, second by Ladoucette. All in favor of adjourning, say aye.
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 I
All opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned at 8:07 p.m. Thank you
Say
so
hi
much.
to your dog, Dave.